Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Mary and here we talk all things houseplants with a bit more emphasis on Hoya. So, continuing my Hoya troubleshooting series, unfortunately I am about to make a video which is not what I wanted to do, and this is because I encountered a problem I didn't know I have, and this is flatmites. So, a little bit of backstory to just have an idea. A while ago, close to December, end of December, I got a Hoya that I wanted, my Hoya ruthie, from my supplier, which I get most of my Hoyas from. And because it was close to Christmas and I had to travel, I did not bother with doing my standard treatment that I use before a plant enters my collection. So I just got the plant, I inspected it, I thought okay, it's fine, I didn't do much and I let it be. The problem is that last week I started seeing new growth. So this is not actually a problem. The problem is if the new growth and the new leaves just drop before they mature. And I had seen this once with my Hoya Rangsan, which I have here, probably around 2 weeks ago. I didn't pay much attention. To be honest, I thought that I just bumped on the new leaf and this is why it fell. So I was like, okay, never mind. Fast forward to last week, I saw some new growth in my ruthie, which is this one, and I was, quite happy because now it's the season at the beginning of spring where Hoyas start to really grow, and I see all like 95% of my Hoyas growing and producing new leaves and going a bit crazy, and this is a very good thing. So I saw some new growth in my ruthie, I was like, okay, nice, and then the leaf just dropped. I saw that it had some deformation as well. I will put a photo so you can have a look for the leaf when it dropped. And this is what had me a bit worried because it was the second instance where this happened. And I was sure that I hadn't touched the plant, so I would not, let's say, make the leaf fall. Long story short, I got my microscope and flatmites. So let's talk about flatmites a little bit so you can have a better understanding of what they are and how to treat them. Flatmites are not similar to spider mites. Spider mites are much bigger and produce webbing. So if you have spider mites on a plant, you will be able to spot them with a naked eye. The flatmites, or false mite as other people call them, they're not the same. You cannot see them with a naked eye. And this is why you need a microscope. Any kind of microscope, or if you don't have one, a magnifying lens but with very good magnification would also work. But I highly recommend that you get a microscope. It doesn't cost much. Actually, I got this one, it's a wireless one. I got this one from Amazon for probably around $40 US, not that much. I mean, this is practically the cost of a Hoya. Like a good Hoya might cost even more. So just give the money and get a microscope if you are collecting Hoyas, and you will find it useful. I mean, up until last year I was just checking with the microscope my flowers when they were starting, the peduncles start to form, and I found it quite fascinating. But unfortunately, now I am in the status where I just check for flatmites for all of my Hoyas. So, long story short, I have spotted a few flatmites in 4 of my Hoyas that I have in my collection. I went through all of the Hoyas thoroughly, and the 4 that were sort of, let's say, put together, developed spider mites. The one that has the most, and I think that this was the plant that actually brought them in the house, is the Ruthiae. So there are a few signs that are, let's say, telltale signs of flatmites. One is that the leaves, the existing leaves, the mature leaves, have started curling, or they start having scarring. So if you see some scarring, like let's say a bit woody, either on the top of the leaves, closer to here, or on the downside around here, then there's a good chance that you will be having flatmites. See, I'm still trying to process that I do have flatmites in some of my Hoyas and not spider mites. It will take a while. So another thing is the stunted growth. If you have, for example, this one, this, as you can see, it has 3 leaves. This is exactly how I got the plant. So it has these 3 leaves, but this stem is bare. This has also dried out, this part, but the rest is bare, no leaves, nothing. I had trellised it since the beginning when I first got it, and I thought that, you know, once you trellis a Hoya, it usually starts to develop flower and leaves even on the part of the stem where it was previously bare, because it really, the trellising helps the leaves grow. So if you have stunted growth like this one, or for example my Sigillatis, I had almost killed the plant because when I got it, it had root rot. So the lady that I got it from was kind enough to give me a few more cuttings, so I put everything here, but nothing has been happening. I have been seeing leaves dropping all the time, but nothing new forming, no new growth, no new leaves, nothing. So stunted growth for me is, I would say, probably number 1. Then the leaves, when they start yellowing and then dropping, this is another telltale sign. Finally, one of the most basic factors that you would think that, okay, I may have flatmites, is when you have young leaves, the leaves are forming, but they're dropping before they mature, as it happened with the Ruthiae. So these are the standard signs. Again, I repeat, for those who are not familiar with flatmites, you cannot see them with the naked eye, unfortunately. I will be posting some videos here from my microscope, and these are some videos that I took from my Ruthiae and from my Sigillatis, so you can see the flatmites just, you know, like crawling on the stem. Normally, some people say that you need to look on the leaves for flatmites. If you have flatmites on the leaves, that means that the infestation is already quite extreme. Flatmites used to gather closer to the nodes. So when you have any new growth, let me show you Ruthiae as an example. So for example, here I had this new growth, this new leaf forming, but then it dropped. So the moment it dropped, I took the microscope and I started checking around this area. And this is practically the main point, the main place where I found most of the flatmites. You will not be seeing flatmites normally on leaves or on the underside of the leaves. Nodes is the first thing where you need to look for. And same for my rank sun. Rangsan lost one leaf that I thought, okay, just bumped on it and this is why it dropped. This was not the case eventually. But now that I looked more closely and I took the microscope and examined it, I found that the flatmites are not on the leaves. Actually, I had one leaf growing previously for me. This is a new growth. But all of them are right here, right on the new growth. So, disappointed as I am, because nobody wants to deal with flatmites on their hoyas, we will have to treat them. Normally, what many people do is that they treat the whole collection. This can be the case if you have just, a couple of hoyas or maybe, 10, 20 plants. If you have more than that, as I do, is not ideal. So it is really hard work, and I will explain a little bit further down about the treatment, but it takes time. And the problem is that with flatmites, you don't need just one treatment and you're done. No, it will take a while. So, how to treat flatmites? Many people say that, okay, I can use a pesticide because I've been using, or fungicide or whatever, and it can work. It does not. So, what you need is sulfur. Sulfur is the only thing that I personally have found out that it does kill flatmites. It destroys flatmites and also their eggs and, like younger ones. So the problem is that to get rid of the adult flatmites, yes, you can use sulfur, but in order to stop completely the infestation and completely kill all of them, you need to apply sulfur several times. In the States, they have a very good pesticide, let's say, sulfur powder, which is water soluble. The thing is that normally sulfur is not water soluble, so you cannot just dilute sulfur in water, it will not work. So I tried this with powder. I got the traditional, let's say, sulfur powder. Actually, funny story, I remember my mom was using sulfur powder in her tomatoes in her garden back in Greece, and she was always, as a kid, when I was a kid, she was telling me, oh, do not go, I have put sulfur everywhere. So I was not touching because, I thought that is, very, very bad. Sulfur is 100% natural, so it may not be as strong as other chemical pesticides that some people are using. Nevertheless, it's the best solution for flatmites. So what I am doing, I actually had just one plant that I found that it had flatmites the moment I got it, and I treated it exactly as I'm going to treat this for, and it worked miracles. Now the hoya is growing like crazy. I hadn't seen any flatmites for the last, I don't know, maybe 8 months. So, I'm gold. So this is exactly what we're going to do for these 4 plants as well. What I do is, because I cannot find this water-soluble sulfur here where I am, I just got normal, traditional, yellow powder sulfur, exactly the same as my mom was using for her tomatoes many years back. So I got this one from a plant shop, and what we will do is, because I cannot put just in a spray bottle with water, just mix everything and spray. If you can find this, it's good, it works. You will need to apply for around 8 weeks, so apply on a weekly basis for around 6 to 8 weeks. I would say 8 just to be on the safe side. But what we will be doing is that I will do a warm bath in all my plants, and then I will apply some sulfur powder. So although the sulfur is not diluted in water, the good thing is that if the plant is wet, the powder can sort of stick everywhere. I especially go very thoroughly and apply with the small brush that I'm using for this job in all the nooks and crevices. So like all new growth, where you see all the nodes and all this is where you should really put sulfur in. So I think that are the basic facts. Let's move to the bathroom, and this is where I will be doing my treatment, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Again, one very important thing: if you do a hot water, like just run hot water on your hoyas before you apply the sulfur, that is good whether you use the water soluble sulfur or not. And this is because many flatmites will be just, you know, like drowned or washed away. And the second thing is that the plant will be okay, will be fine, as long as the water is somewhere between 43 and 49 degrees. So if you have smaller plants, like this one for example, you can use a thermometer, a kitchen thermometer. You can have a big pot, like boil the water, and then when it drops to normal temperature around 43 to 49, do not go below 43 or 42 because it will be useless. Do not go above 49 because it will cause an issue to the plant. So somewhere in between there, you can just put the whole plant in, just leave it for 10 minutes and then do your sulfur treatment. I have seen that this works the best. So we're going to do these two steps tonight. First, wash them out in around 43 degrees water, and then go through the sulfur treatment. Alright guys, welcome to my bath tube. So I have here 4 plants: the Rangsan, the Sigillatis, the Ruthia and the Imperialis. And I will start with the Imperialis first, just because she's not in pond, she's not in semi-hydro. I have removed the rest from their... Okay, I'm doing this right now. From their pot, so I can just run the water through this with no issues. For the Imperialis, I will just need to, I don't know, improvise somehow and probably not run water in here, because I don't want it to be extremely wet. I had watered it maybe 2 days ago, so I'm trying still, because it's a new plant, I got it on Christmas. I'm trying to, you know, like not overdo it with watering. So let's see. By the way, how do I know that I have 42 or 43 degrees here? I have my heater is a gas heater, so it can go, let me quickly show you this. So I can calculate exactly the temperature that I want. So I have put it on 44 degrees. And I will just let the water run for a while. So let's do it. Alright, as you saw, I tried to be as thorough as I could be. And now the sulfur treatment starts. So this is the powder that I have, which is 100% pure sulfur. I would suggest, if you are worried about, you know, like about this, maybe wear some gloves. I'm okay, as I told you, I'm so familiar with it since I was a kid, so I don't really mind. I have this small brush which I'm using. It has natural hair, so it's very gentle to the plant. And this yellow powder, not sure if you can see, is the sulfur. So I'm just going through. very thoroughly. And you see that now, although it's not water soluble, because the plant is wet, it's very easy for the sulfur to stick on the plant. So I do the leaves as well, but I don't really focus that much on the leaves because I don't have a big infestation, thank God. I only spotted maybe, I don't know, 10, 12, not more than 15 flatmites in all plants. But you need to be very thorough and very precise and brush everything, like all the plant, the whole of it. Both the leaves, yes, but especially the nodes and the stem. This is where you get the new growth from, and this is where you need to focus mainly. If you are one of the lucky guys that you can find the water-soluble sulfur, go for that, it's so much easier. The problem is that it does stain the plant, so you will have some yellowy stains while you're doing the treatment for these 6 or 8 weeks. But to be honest, it's much better to have this rather than lose your plant. So you see that I'm very thorough. I'm going throughout the whole stem. I don't mind if it's dry or not, I just put sulfur everywhere. This is completely dried out, so I will cut it off, so I don't really need to put much. But that's the idea. And especially where I found the new growth dropping, the new leaves dropping, this is where I emphasize the most. So this is the first one. You see, I will probably put back in the trellis because it's okay, it's fine. I just want to keep it, you know, if it can produce any new growth, at least I want to make sure that it will. But that's the idea. So this is the first one. I will just put it back in its pot and put it aside. And let's go through the other ones as well. Exactly the same process. So you need to be very thorough, very thorough. You need to cover the whole plant. And actually, you know, sulfur is quite good for the plant in general. So even if you do not have flatmites, it might be beneficial in any case. So it will induce new growth. Alright everyone, we are back. So I have applied sulfur thoroughly to all 4 plants, as you can see here. And this is exactly what you should be doing as well. So whether you use the spray or the powder, which is not water soluble, you need to reapply and do this process once every week for 6 to 8 weeks from the moment you start, so you can make sure that you destroy completely both adult and the young flatmites, and you will not just continue the circle of growth. So in case you have young leaves dropping before they mature, if you have yellowing leaves, if you have stunted growth, if you have vines drying out for no reason, if you have scarring on your leaves, then you need to get one of those, and you definitely need to check for flatmites. So guys, that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, it would help tremendously, and hopefully I will see you next time with more positive news. Thank you all.